Hola. Today on the show, I'm in conversation with David Rice from Mississauga, United States of America. He is a father of three, a middle school teacher, and a passionate cyclist. Cycling to him is not just a sport that he enjoys, it has also been his coping mechanism to a number of personal struggles that he was going through. In the recent past, there were a number of medical issues that he had to face, and cycling became his escape and his stress buster during these trying times. Up next, he talks about his cycling journey and how it keeps him sane in these trying times. So, hi, David. Thank you so much for joining us on Road Benders. Thank you so much for taking out the time to share your experiences. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you.
So, cycling is not just a sport that you enjoy. It is also something that, has helped you overcome personal challenges in your life. So, I would like to ask you, when did your cycling journey actually begin?
I probably began when I was about 7 years old, and I had learned how to ride a bike for the first time. I wasn't very athletic. I've never been athletic my entire life, but cycling just clicked for me. And so I would ride a lot in my neighborhood. And then I kept riding as much as I could through high school. And I was that weird kid who would ride 14 miles to high school on gravel roads. I'd ride to my girlfriend's house, and she was like 18 miles away. And everybody thought, I'm from a very small town in the middle of nowhere, United States. And so people thought I was weird and strange because I was riding my bike. No one did that. And I kind of took a break after I got married, and I was at school and I gained all that weight, and I came back to cycling because I would go to the gym and I didn't like anything, but when I would cycle, I loved it, and so I would keep cycling and I keep going out for it, and it was this really wonderful experience. So I started to lose weight. I was 235 pounds. I had a knee surgery. I tore my ACL because I was on a trampoline and jumping up and down trying to show my kid how I could do a flip, a backflip like I used to when I weighed 130, but I was 235, and my knee just would come. So it came down. It was really excruciating, and so I just decided I wasn't going to be that person anymore. I wasn't going to be heavy. I wasn't going to be told that I had to be on. I had some nerve damage. I wasn't going to do the cocaine derivative route. I was going to lose the weight, and so I focused on that. And I slowly worked at it, and I lost 30 pounds pretty easily. But the next 30, 40 were really hard, and I just kept riding, and eventually I got really fit. And then the year I was really strong and really fit, and I was able to ride hundreds of miles per hour, or hundreds of miles in a day. I had a pulmonary embolism. So that same year I was at my strongest, I also had the closest call to dying. So, yeah. And so I've been kind of the past 2 years recovering from that and getting stronger and learning to accept my new limitations and being okay with where I am. There was a lot of depression back and forth about it. And so to go from where you think you're just really strong to where you can't even walk across your living room anymore without help, it takes a toll on you. But when I was able to get back into cycling, all those endorphins came back and I felt so much better.
So, how has cycling changed the way you look at life?
I'm happier with cycling, I think, than I've ever been in my life. I feel like I'm a better parent if I can get away and cycle for 60 miles in a day. Not right now, but it gives me a better perspective. I used to think that being a good parent and a good husband meant that I would have to stay at home, be there all the time, and never do anything for myself. And when I started cycling, I realized I could be a good parent, I could be a good husband, and still take care of myself. Right. So that's how it helps.
Right. So can you tell us something about the trips that you took and the cycling initiatives that you've been associated with?
Okay, sure. I have not done any world traveling. I would love to do world traveling, but I don't have that opportunity. I have traveled from Texas to Kansas. I did the Oklahoma Free Will. It was 550 miles. I was still relatively new to cycling. I think that was 2014. So I did one of my very first century routes on it, 100 miles on it,
Right.
For the very first time. And it was hot and it was miserable, and I was by myself of 800 people. I wasn't fast enough to go with the fast group. I wasn't slow enough to go with the slow group. So every single day I was by myself, and I would be singing songs out loud to keep myself company. And so it was fun. I don't know why you think something so miserable would be fun, but it was. I also helped organize a protest ride around my state capital. One of our state representatives, he wanted to pass a law allowing ATV four-wheelers onto a trail that's only supposed to be for cycling. Missouri has one of the longest public use trails for cyclists in the country and even in the world. It's 235 miles, I think, or 238, and they're adding some more to it, so it's going to be over 500 when it's fully done. But this guy wanted to put ATVs on it and completely destroy it because it's just crushed limestone. And he also wanted cyclists to have a 15-foot tall flag off the bike. And so I did a protest ride. I rode 100 miles around a circle. The building Capitol has a big drive around, and so 100 miles in a circle. That was something I never wanted to do again because that was really boring. And I like helping other cyclists get into long distance cycling, and so I help them get over that fear and that caution. And so I've gotten a lot of people to do the first metric century and then the first 200K, and so it's been fun.
Right. So from all of these trips that you undertook, which, according to you, are the high points?
I still think riding down Pikes Peak is my favorite thing to do in the world. I still smile and giggle a little about it. So I didn't have time. I was with my family, and I didn't have time to ride up Pikes Peak, and I would have loved to have done that, but we had a whole day packed. So they drove me to the top, they visited the center, and then I rode my bike down, and I'm just flying. I'm struggling to hit the corners. I have my big Salsa Marrakesh. It's my big touring bike, so it's super heavy. It's got disc brakes, it's just so much fun. I kept worrying, please don't let a squirrel pop out in front of me while I'm going 40 miles per hour down the hill. And I'm just racing down, and I'm just having so much fun. And the views are gorgeous. I mean, it's so beautiful going down, but you're at the same time trying to be focused on the road since you've never been on it before. And I hit the highway as I left the park. I'm going 43 miles per hour on the highway when the speed limit's 45. And cars are just barely passing me as I go down into Manitou Springs. And to this day, that's still my favorite ride. It was only 40 minutes, but it was the best.
Downhills are the best.
Yes.
That's when you can fly. That's when you can literally fly on your cycle. So, what according to you is the secret to paddling long distance?
I think you need three things. I think it's really important you sleep the night before. Sometimes you can get really nervous about a ride, but those nerves, if they keep you awake, are going to ruin the ride for you. You might be good for a couple hours, but when you're doing something long distance like 120 miles or 190 miles, you really need a good night's sleep. And if you don't get that, it's going to hurt all day long. You'll never be happy on the bike. The second thing is food. It's really, really important you eat. And don't eat to lose weight while you're on the bike. If you're riding, you eat more calories than you think you need. A lot of people want to use their bike time as their weight loss time. And that's just really not appropriate when you're doing endurance cycling. You need the extra distance. And so the third thing, I said there's three things, right? Eat, sleep, and oh, sorry, I have a.
So, what, according to you, is the secret to paddling long distance?
So I think it's eating, sleeping, and perseverance. And it's really important that you eat really well while you're on the bike. People want to lose weight while they're riding. I've been with too many people who are like, this is my time to lose weight. I'm going to burn all these calories and then I'm going to have this huge deficit. And that's the worst time. You want the muscles to be strong and burn the calories after you get off the bike. If you don't eat well, you're going to bonk. And if you bonk on 100 miles when you're only 60 miles into it, you're going to have a very miserable 40 miles. And it's just always eat, always drink, always take care of yourself. The second thing, sleep, is a lot of people get nervous before ride. I used to do this really bad. I wouldn't sleep, and I would kind of stay up till 2 or 3 just worrying, can I do the ride, can I not do the ride? And then you're getting up at 6 a.m. or even 5 a.m. when it's really hot in the summer here. And those rides are so miserable because you got 3 hours of sleep, 4 hours, and you're not getting through them. And so your strength might be good really for the first couple hours, but then the next 6 hours you're just suffering. And you don't have to suffer if you sleep well. And the third is perseverance, because that headwind isn't always going to last. You know, that hill isn't always going to be there. That the sweat in your eyes isn't always going to be pouring into your eyes. All those things that kind of build up into your mental attitude to the point where you think, I can't survive this, I can't do this, I need to quit. Just push through it. Push through it, push through it. I think one of the hardest rides I did was, I did one of my first solo 200 Ks by myself. No one else wanted to go, which is why I started getting other people involved, because I just wanted to do them on my own. And I had a really great tailwind all the way out, which meant on the way back, a really horrible headwind. And so I put on my headphones. I never do this on a bike. I put on my headphones, I listened to Pandora's comedy channel, and I've died. I'm miserable. My body hurts, but I'm laughing the whole time because of the jokes from the comedy channel. And so I'm getting through the ride just one pedal at a time, one hill at a time, and you set those road markers for yourself. So if I can hit that rock, I can keep going. If I can hit that blade of grass or that tree, I can keep going. And so perseverance is probably the biggest of those first of that whole group. So.
True. That's true. I agree with that. So, can you tell me about the bike that you own and the one that you would recommend to a beginner?
I have 3 bikes. I'm definitely a believer in +1, where N is the number of bikes you have and +1 is the number of bikes you need. So I have a gravel bike, which is a Specialized Diverge. It has some comfort suspension. Yes, my boys. That's the suspension system in the handlebars, and so it kind of protects you while you're riding gravel. My second bike is a Trek Damane, and it has also some give and take on the stem and the seat fork, and so it's a little bit more comfortable. And my third bike is a Salsa Marrakesh, and it's my touring bike. It's probably my favorite bike to ride. I love riding it all day. It's comfortable. It's easy to ride. It's heavy. And everybody else around me is like, why are you riding a heavy bike? But it's just comfortable and fun, and it's easy to climb hills. It's got better gearing for climbing hills. And in Missouri, we don't have mountains, but we have one hill right after another. And if you ever read anyone's blog about the Trans-America race, they complain about the state of Missouri more than any other place because it's awful with our hills. And so for a brand new cyclist who's never cycled before, a lot of them are intimidated by a road bike with the drop handlebars, but so a lot of them go with a hybrid mountain bike stuff. I would say go ahead and get over your intimidation and go for that drop bar. I think you'll find that it's not as intimidating. You might want to get something that has wider tires, like maybe a cross bike or a gravel bike, but don't be intimidated by the drop bars. They're okay. They're really good. They're really comfortable for long rides. So.
So, when you're riding long distance, is there any specific diet plan that you follow?
Food, food, and more food. I have an allergy to red meat. I can't eat any mammals. So that means when I go to convenience stores in Missouri, they don't have a lot of vegan choices. So, and I can have turkey and I can have chicken, but you don't see choices like that. So I try to make sure I get food that has protein in it and some carbs and sugar. I know people think sugar is bad, but I get something called bike brain, and I think other cyclists get it too. But you get fuzzy and you start to lose track of really important details. You're not paying attention. So that extra boost of glucose really helps keep your brain going, because your brain is using as much energy as almost anything else, because you're constantly paying attention to cars passing you and whether you're in the lane, and your brain is just constantly working, and if you don't keep enough sugar, that hurts. But for me, it's just really simple foods. Sometimes I'll eat a chocolate bar. Sometimes I will eat I'll make sure I get Gatorade and some chips. It's just with my allergy, it's kind of hard. I can't get beef sticks or anything like that. So protein has to come from other sources, and so I spend more time looking for food than probably anybody else on the ride with me. So
Right. So, when you're cycling, you're as it is getting quite a bit of exercise. So, do you feel the need for any variation and taking up some other form of exercise?
the very first time I went to buy a bike, I went into the bike shop. Every cyclist I saw looked like this. Their shoulders are kind of bent in, curved around. And I'm like, I don't want to look like that. And so I do yoga. I do yoga twice a week. Our gyms are closed right now because of the COVID-19. But I do yoga twice a week. I swim I will start swimming once my shoulders get stronger. With the 2 surgeries I've had this past year, it still hurts to use my shoulders like that. But I lift weights. So it's not like I go and I do the really heavy bars. I'm just interested in making sure that my shoulders are strong and my core is strong. If you don't do those 2 things, you're out of balance, and your body kind of starts to twist itself a little, and I think you'll end up with more aches and pains than you would if you just stay healthy. So a little less time on the bike given to things like yoga, or weights, will make you a better cyclist.
Right. So with that, we are at my last question, and which is if you can say a few words for your fellow cyclists.
I know I've been through a really rough couple of years. I had the pulmonary embolism, and then I had 2 cervical fusions, and then I had dental surgery. So I had like 5 surgeries all within 2 years time span. And it took me off my bike, and I was used to getting 5,000 to 6,000 miles a year, and then all of a sudden I'm struggling to get a 2-mile ride in, because it's just too much work for me. Things like that can take us off of our bike and can kind of ruin our mood, and it can be really depressing. And it's a super challenging period in your life, but that's okay. It doesn't mean that cycling goes away forever. It doesn't mean that you can find your health, what's healthy for you or what's fit for you in this new stage of life. You just have to go for it, look for it. When I cycle now, I stutter, which is why I named my channel Stuttering Cyclist. And it doesn't happen every time, but it happens, and I get lightheaded, and I kind of feel like this drain when it happens. My muscles tighten up right here. I'm not going to give up cycling just because I stutter a little. I'm not going to give up cycling just because I'm weaker than I used to be. I love it. And if it's something you love that much, even if you're going through a really rough time, you can do it. You can't just find a way of doing it. But that's an electric bike, like I use sometimes. Use an electric bike, but ride. Don't give up something you love just because of setbacks.
True, that's true. Thank you so much, David. It was wonderful talking to you. And you've been through a hard patch, but I really hope that you have a speedy recovery and you have a number of happy rides that you can be on. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shimba. It was nice.
Same here.